Hey guys, welcome back. We are here for another interview at the Staking Summit 2025 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Joining me is Aki, co-founder and CEO of BitSafe. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it, you giving us the time. And so I guess we'll start by you explaining to us what is BitSafe, like an overall view of what BitSafe is and what you do.
Sure. So we started 4 years ago to create a new Bitcoin wrapping technology. We were originally funded by a grant from Chainlink and then some other grants. And we've had a couple of products over the years, but most recently, about a year ago, we hard pivoted to focus on the Canton network, which is an institutional layer one blockchain. So on Canton, we have two product lines. The first is CBTC, which is native wrap Bitcoin on Canton, and I can talk about that. And then the second product line, which we're about to launch, are vaults, multi-sig token vaults on Canton.
All right, good overview. Maybe we can kind of go one by one. So, Canton, why Canton? What makes Canton different from other chains?
Yeah, so I like to joke. Half of my job is telling people about Canton more than anything because it's quite new in the market. They just listed their Canton coin this week on various markets like Kraken and Bybit. I think a Binance listing at some point is rumored to come. But anyway, it's a layer one institutional blockchain, kind of built by Wall Street, built by companies affiliated with DRW. If you're familiar, they're the second largest commodity trading firm in the world, or in the US at least, if not the world. Also, they raised from Citadel, Goldman, BNP Paribas. So it's a kind of institutional consortium bet on the and it's very much focused on privacy. So basically, their idea is that crypto introduced a lot of important concepts, but somewhere along the way, people kind of forgot about privacy. And for regulated entities like banks and trading firms, privacy is really important because you cannot, like, I cannot know how much you have in your wallet. If you're a bank, they cannot like disclose that information. Or if you're trading, if you have two counterparties and they're trading, that information should not leak to an external party because they can front run you and just trade against you. So, obviously Ethereum and other chains were designed for transparency. Canton is a permissionless chain, but it was designed with sort of privacy on the node operator level. So you can configure who validates your transaction essentially. And so you can have private trading and you can have public parts of the blockchain as well. So, but it is an L1. It does not use Solidity. It is not EVM. So it's written in a language called DAML, which is similar to Haskell, which is similar to Java. And basically, everything kind of has to be built from the ground up with privacy in mind. And so that's where we set up as a service provider.
All right, and so I guess what you offer on Canton is a wrapper for B2C, right?
Yeah, that was our first product. So it's actually the first asset that is live on Canton other than their native Canton coin. So CBTC just became live actually a few weeks ago. I minted the first one.
Congrats.
Thank you. It worked. The Bitcoin's still in there, so that's good. Didn't fall out. So that's been really fun. And to be fair, we're still setting up the first markets, the first AMMs, getting the first market makers. So we're still doing a lot of these kind of early setups. But it's the first asset that you can mint on Canton. And by you, I mean it's it's limited to the companies that are already on Canton at the moment. They have to install the software on their node. Like it's still kind of early days. So retail cannot access CBTC just at this point yet. But we will be working with wallet providers to enable applications that allow retail to generate yield from investing their Bitcoin through CBTC. So that's quite exciting.
So it seems it's a very early days for Canton and for CB2C there as well, right?
It really is. And I mean, if you think, we're early, which we totally are, Canton, I would say it's kind of phenomenal what they've done here because these guys have been working on it. They started Digital Asset, which is the largest technology provider on Canton, started 11 years ago. So these guys have been working on it 11 years.
Yeah.
The chain itself, I think, is like 2-3 years old and just launched, and people everywhere are like, what is it? Because it is I believe, someone fact checked me, I believe it's the number 4 largest blockchain in the world based on burns. so transaction activity, and it's the number one by far on RWA, TVL, and volume. By far, that was just added to RWA.xyz, which is a RWA dashboard. Canton has one customer called Broadridge that is moving, I believe, $6 trillion a month in terms of volume, something like that. So the numbers are staggering. And so you have this chain that's sort of been around, not widely known. Suddenly, now you can buy the coin. People are asking, what is it? It also sounds, I have to say, it sounds vaguely like Cantonese, because my brother lives in Hong Kong. It has nothing to do with the Cantonese people.
Good to know.
It was named after the cantons of Switzerland, which are like divisions in Switzerland, states or whatever in Switzerland. I've never been to Switzerland, so I can only surmise. But it's sort of this institutional blockchain. So the idea is for CBTC to enable collateral mobility, so be used as collateral for derivatives trading, to enable private Bitcoin transactions. That would be quite interesting, maybe similar to some of the things people are doing in Zcash and others. So that's built into how the network works. And then just a lot of, ETPs on Bitcoin, Bitcoin yield, OTC market on Bitcoin, just a lot of those things. So we're quite excited for CBTC.
All right. And I guess other than CBDC, you also mentioned DeFi vaults.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So now we launched CBTC, but so one thing I should mention, CBTC, instead of being minted from a custodian, it's actually minted from using a Bitcoin multisig called a Frost multisig. Frost stands, I think, for, I'm going to try to get it right, Flexible Round Optimized Schnorr Threshold, Frost. And we're not the only company. We actually, I'll admit, we forked our Frost implementation from Zcash.
Okay.
Stacks and Botanics, which are some Bitcoin-related chains, also use Frost. But anyway, to mint CBTC, you're actually sending your Bitcoin into a multi-sig secured by 15 node operators, and they publish attestations, and so it's not related. So you're not reliant on the counterparty risk of one custodian or one regulatory regime. So that's for CBTC. But in order to deliver that, we also built the same 15-member multisig on Canton using their contract language demo, and the same 50 nodes publishing same attestations. So what that means is that you can do any kind of token vault, like for those in DeFi, ERC 4626, which are typical DeFi token vaults, or 7540, which are like real-world assets, kind of CDFI vaults. So you can do those. We can do staking vaults, all kinds of yield instruments through that second product, vaults. So we're going to first launch with a CBTC vault, then we'll have USDC vault, and eventually work our way to Canton Coin yield vaults, which everyone on Canton is excited about. So basically, we're bringing the yield in. First, we have the asset, and then now we're bringing the yield.
All right, and the strategy is on it. No, nice, really nice. And so this, from what you're saying, is still not there as well. It's coming you have an idea, like an estimation for this?
Yeah, we're going to have the first prototype vault in the next week or so for internal use. But I will say the hard part about Canton is that because it is built for B2B and institutional, it's hard to get a node. So this is a very practical problem I get asked a lot. How can I get on Canton? Well, to get a node, right now they have about 600 nodes, and they've sort of paused it for some time with the listing happening.
Okay.
Then they're going to unpause it. I've heard they're going to hopefully open up some new slots in December. So basically, right now, we just serve the 600 companies, inside Canton. So even the early deployments of CBTC and vaults are for those companies that are already in there. And then we'll kind of prototype it. We're working with Digital Asset, the creators of Canton ourselves, to kind of make that easier. And then the idea is hopefully in Q1, we are partnering with different MPC wallet providers, like DFNS is one that's widely known. And so then you can have retail also use these, and we can put apps like the staking apps and yield apps, and then the retail users could access it through these MPC wallets and use those yield mechanisms. So that's kind of a later motion. So right now we're just setting up the bare bones, making sure it works, testing it, making sure the yield scale, like all the things you would expect. And then next year, hopefully early next year, we'll be opening it up for retail, and then everybody can, try it on some level.
All right. Amazing, man. Great insight. Great. Yeah, I didn't know about that. So I'd like to kind of close these interviews by asking a bit of a more high-level question. It's been the same for all. And so, yeah, perhaps you can give us your input into what you believe will happen in, like, say, 1 to 2 years in the staking ecosystem, if you have an opinion.
Yeah, well, I love the idea of staking. I think staking actually splits out into two things. One is actual native staking, like when you stake Ethereum, and the other is the use of staking, but it's really yield.
Yeah.
So when you, for example, Bitcoin, like you cannot stake Bitcoin. Obviously, it's a proof of work chain. Canton Coin is also proof of work. It's a UTXO based chain. So you also cannot stake Canton Coin natively. But what you can use it, for example, in case of Bitcoin, is financialize it, use it
Yep.
as collateral, borrow against it. And, people out there looking for Bitcoin yield, well, there's a bunch of funds that trade Bitcoin. They run various strategies, arbitrage and, black box strategies, but they're generating like easily 10 to 15% on Bitcoin with various risk assumptions, etc. And then if you loop it or you apply leverage, you can get even higher reward for higher risk. So these hedge funds out there, they exist. They're doing this for large clients. Well, there's a bunch of people with Bitcoin who would love to earn like 10 or 15%. Obviously, there's some risk and trust essentials that they have to evaluate. But I think that's really where this is going to go, is we don't have to invent anything like drastically new here. We just have to make TradFi and these yield vehicles accessible to the people. Just how Bitcoin made banking and investing more accessible. You can get Bitcoin without a bank account, that kind of thing. Now we can bring in those yield mechanisms, that are managed, hopefully managed by like by professional fund managers, etc. Obviously, there's risk, so you might want to diversify across multiple. But if we can make that accessible through wallets, and then eventually through exchanges like, I don't know, Robinhood or Coinbase or whatever, wherever you can access that, I think that's where this is going to go. So we're going to go from network staking alone to staking and yield. And so I can get yield on my Bitcoin or my whatever asset. You can stake your ETH, get staked ETH, and then get yield on your stake ETH.
Yeah.
So like these things are not mutually exclusive. So I'm excited to see the yield story evolve because, money managers have been doing this for decades. They have a history of this. There's regulation, things like that. There's controls around it. And they have really good products that if only people could access it, they would really benefit. So we're working to make that happen. And, I want to use it. My dad has Bitcoin. He wants to use it. So
Who wouldn't want to get more out of your assets, right?
totally.
That's the whole point, right?
Totally.
Thanks again for this interview. It's been very insightful, and I'm sure the viewers will think the same. Now, to wrap it up, if you want to, address where the viewers, tell them where to find BitSafe, and where I'll find your news.
Yeah. So I would say I'm on Twitter as Aki Balogh, AKIBALOGH. We are BitSafe. BitSafe.finance is the site. I would just say, check out Canton Network. There's a lot of news coming out, a lot of announcements, and we'll be doing more things too. So excited to get out there and ask us anything.
All right. Again, thank you, and see you guys soon.